Alright, so that was really, really good. We obviously worked on a lot right there. Worked on our setup, worked on the swing, going back, going through. Before I go into my final parts, do you have any questions for me?
I guess like the only thing that I do have a question about, like, is if I do set up like farther in front, like what does that do to like the swing? Like what, like if I set up instead of in the middle more in the
Yeah.
front?
So that's how you started hitting the ball at first. So you had the ball way too far forward. We're hitting a 7 iron here, so that's typically we want to play that relatively in the middle of our stance, basically off the tip of our nose. So now if we set up, we have the ball too far forward, what that does is now our shoulders are going to close in relation to where our feet are aimed. So now our feet are aimed this way, our shoulders are aimed this way. So now our arms are obviously connected to our shoulders. They're relatively going to follow that shoulder line. So now that means we're going to be swinging left, which we talked about, swing what I call grip the hip, coming into our body.
Right.
Now that's going to be our arms are going left, but our mind and our club face are still thinking the target. So now we're basically slicing across the ball, putting that side spin across the ball where we're getting those shots that went out and kind of just peeled off to the right there.
Got it.
So another thing too, when you get the ball too far forward and you do line your shoulders up correctly, we may do everything great back here, create that rotation, create that width from our body, and then we recognize, our mind will recognize the ball's too far forward, now we sway into it. And all that power we generated back here, we just wasted because now we're shifting into it. We don't it's not a compact swing. We kind of lost everything we just did. Does that answer?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but the biggest things that we worked on there is our ball position. Typically all our clubs we had it too far forward, so we can move the ball a little farther back. We're not moving it from one extreme to the other, we're just moving back a couple inches. So with that 7 iron that we worked on, we're thinking kind of right off the tip of our nose, basically in the middle of our stance. And finally, the last two things we worked on is we're creating that rotation, we're creating that width back, create that separation from our body, get our shoulders turning and extending through, driving the club head out through the target. The same thing as I talked about through the lesson, if I were to unscrew the head of your club, it's going to fly out into your